Great, thank you. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that, and special thanks to the family of Simon Chung, who was an early 1930s Yale graduate, and I believe some of his family are in the audience, and they made this film possible. Could they stand, please? The relatives of Simon Chang? Way to go. Thank you. So, I don't know that we've ever done anything quite like that. So it was a good endeavor, and we enjoyed doing it, and thank you for making it possible. I just wanted to speak to you very briefly about financial things. And as you all know, this is a party where we didn't make it a big benefit and charge everybody money to come in here, because the most important thing for us was the community and getting all the people who are interested in our work and have been part of our work over the years together again. That was the key thing, and we are overjoyed at the turnout. It's been fabulous. We would, however, be even more overjoyed if we receive some financial support in future. So I'm here to talk very briefly about that. We have upstairs on the second floor a giving tree. And all it is a tree with not very many leaves on it, looking a little forlorn right now. And what we have up there are pledge cards, bright pink pledge cards, which all of you received on the way in. There are more upstairs. And we would be delighted if you would think about making a contribution over any time this next year and writing down that pledge. And then when you write the pledge, put the card in the box, you take a leaf and you put it on the tree. And by the end of the evening, we hope we have a tree full of leaves and a bright future. We have worked very hard under Nancy Yao Mosbach's leadership, especially to make our dollars go a long, long way. We, of course, have the wealth of Yale University and all its alumni and brilliant faculty and students at our disposal to make a lot of our work happen, but it does take a few dollars and cents to make some of these programs go. If you would help me, Glenn, cue a couple of things here. For $2,500, that covers the expense of a public service intern to work with a nonprofit organization in China or Hong Kong, all for a summer. $5,000 brings a group of Yale student interns and Yale-China scholarship recipients from across China together for a week of service and a cross-cultural exchange in a Chinese village or town. Only $730 is enough for us to provide a scholarship for a Chinese undergraduate who otherwise could not afford to go to school. $2,930 makes it possible for one of our community-based Jia Fellows to do a diabetes control project in Changsha with massive implication for thousands of people. $24,000 covers the cost of placing one medical English language teaching fellow at Xiangya School of Medicine for a year. And $20,000 funds a teaching fellow at Xiuning Middle School in rural Anhui province for an entire year. So this is just a few thoughts about how we spend our money. I would also like to speak to you about something very, very special. We are endeavoring to make permanent for the first time with an endowment our teaching fellowships in Anhui at Xiuning. And that comes through the wonderful generosity of the Lilley family. And just before I speak about them, I would like to cue one more very brief video. So together with the Lilley family, we have set the goal of $1.6 million to be raised by this time next year, and in honor of Ambassador Lilley, who was a great supporter and friend of Yale-China. And we are deeply touched ourselves by this outpouring and are quite excited that it ties in at the same time as our service tour to Anhui and Xiuning. And it allows us to branch out to another area beyond Hunan, where we know we can make a difference. And we're lucky to have present with us tonight Mrs. Lilley and Michael Lilley, the ambassador's son. If you would please stand so we can recognize you. Thank you so much. And then finally, we have one other effort that we think might interest you in terms of support to Yale-China. We have been working very hard to retain and memorialize our own history. And several years ago, Nancy Chapman, our previous executive director, took a year to write a history of Yale-China, and there are copies for sale in one of the other rooms. Quite an interesting text to read. But we also have many hours of film that we've discovered in the basement of Sterling Library. And it's all beginning to crumble and decay, and we have not much more time to digitize that film and transfer it over into a new fabric so that it can be preserved for posterity. And I'd just like to show you a brief clip on that. Thank you. That is a $50,000 project for us, and so when you go upstairs and look at our giving tree, you'll see 3 buckets: one for general funds, one for the James R. Lilley Memorial Fund, and one for the film preservation. And I thank you in advance for your pledge. The history piece is particularly touching to me. Tonight I saw one of my students I haven't seen from 28 years, who found me because her daughter was applying to Yale and noticed Yale-China and noticed my name as the new chair and said, "Is that the same Marcy you've been talking about all these years?" And anyway, so she's been kind enough to bring some of my own history back, some notes that I wrote on her papers back 28 years ago, and some photographs from then, and I'm just barely holding back the tears myself. So hanging on to history is a wonderful thing, and this organization of all really needs to hang on to its history. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Nancy, and we'll go on for the next chapter.
Thanks so much, Marcy. And I'm getting the sense that the teaching fellows were easy graders because you were way too beloved. This is really the fun part of the evening for us. We have a wonderful see Jan Kleiman and the Museum of this is a real fun part for us. We're going to do a panel for about 20 minutes, hosted by a former teaching fellow at New Asia College, the one and only Tom Ashbrook. He may not need any more introduction than that, but he is the host of NPR's On Point, which many of you may know very well, and he's going to introduce 3 of our former teaching fellows to the generations. And please, Tom, take it away. Thank you.